And joining us now is Gary Hamel from Plattsburgh, a retired veteran and a member of the Navy Seawolves Squadron. Welcome. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So you enlisted in the Navy after graduating from Peru High School in 1968.
Yes.
But during the 4 years you were in the Navy, you never set foot on a ship.
Never set foot on a ship. I went to Millington, Tennessee for A school on aviation instructional mechanic, and then I went to Corpus Christi, Texas for a year. I didn't really think I was going to Vietnam, and that's where I ended up.
Then you got the call.
And they said, it's about 80 miles south of Saigon, down in Mekong Delta. And I said, oh, okay. The Navy's only helicopter attack squadron. How did they do that?
Had you heard of the Seawolves? Did you know their reputation?
No. And then they shipped me down to Bentui, and it's a Navy base. And we had 9 detachments. And first month, you just kind of do work around the squadron, find out how the thing worked, and then after that they assign you a job. And I wasn't one of the door gunners. I was in maintenance, but I did get a couple of flights in the helicopter. It was interesting. Skids are almost touching the water, and it's like, wow, this is fast. It's interesting. But to fly in a helicopter with the doors open and the wind blowing in your face, 2 guys sitting there with machine guns. And
what primarily did you do? You kept the helicopters flying.
Right. My main job was a tool room, supplying tools. But with my schooling in aviation instructional mechanic, I could go out and help the guys in the shop, repairing holes, repairing hydraulics. My roommate was an engine mechanic, worked on the engines, him and another guy named, it was Ernie Clark and Terry Mann. And they both worked on the engines, but I'd just go out, I would help out anybody that needed help, because I was almost like a floater.
The documentary tells the story of why and how the squadron came to be at the height of the Vietnam War to protect U.S. river patrol boats and swift boats patrolling the Mekong River, which flows through Vietnam and several other countries in Southeast Asia. It was a major thoroughfare during the war, and it was how the North Vietnamese and the Viet Cong moved arms and supplies during the war. The U.S. brought in more than 1,000 boats that were in that area, and that's why there was really the need for this squadron to protect those boats.
Because there's a story about these guys all got together. There was 2 SEALs, 2 Army Rangers, and a couple other guys, and they talked about how they didn't have no protection at night. The Army guys, it would come dark out, and then they stopped flying because they weren't trained in instruments and stuff like that. And these guys said, well, the Navy learned how to fly, land on the aircraft carriers, or better pilots. And so that's when it all started up. And one of the guys happened to be Admiral Zumwalt's son. And he said, I'll talk to my father about getting it started. And that's how it all started.
So it was really out of necessity.
Right.
Those boats needed protection. Navy SEALs needed ways to get in and out, and you transported them.
Yeah, because it was amazing in the places they'd put them choppers down.
You had a lot of respect for the pilots and what they could do. Nerves of steel.
To land on what they landed on, they land on those ships.
And they landed on those ships because then they would be close by. Because
there was 9 detachments, and so a couple of them were on ships, so that they could move different places.
And that was the whole thing. They could be there literally within a matter of minutes.
Right.
They prided themselves on being able to be up and in the air within a matter of
2 minutes,
2 or 3 minutes, and then close enough that when there was trouble, they could be there.
Yep. It was the whole thing, and they were fast and they were good. There's a lot of you go on our website, there's stories of people saying how they thanked us for saving them, and the Marines or Army, because they wouldn't go in and get them, and we'd go in and get them. We're just braver, I guess, or crazier.
And actually, that's part of the reputation. This reputation of being fearless, of being the renegades that would go in and do what the others
what the other ones wouldn't do.
And it was amazing because you were flying older helicopters. These were Army hand-me-downs.
Right. It was nothing new. And we'd fix them up and send them out. And they'd get shot up. We'd fix them up, send them back out. It was quite a operation.
In the documentary, the pilots, the gunners, they talk about the role that the maintenance folks
Right.
did. They credit you,
Right.
you folks with
Right, because at first, you know, we were just there as a group of guys working, and now, you know, after a while, they realized, you know, if it wasn't for us guys, they wouldn't be here, because a lot of those choppers weren't in very good shape.
And you really had to scrounge around for parts, finding and improvising and doing what you could.
Yep, anything you could scrounge around. They had piles of junk that would, you never know what was in there. It was good for another part, you know, use it on something else.
Now, you were in the unit for a little more than a year?
A year. Everybody was there for a year, and you went home. You could come back for 6 months. Not a problem. No questions at all. But if you wanted to come back the second time, then you had to go through a psych thing, see if there was something wrong there. And there was guys that was there 2 and 3 years. They loved it.
And you chuckle when you say that, because
Yeah.
in all reality, probably a lot of people say to go back into a situation like that.
Right, and I wasn't one of them guys that wanted to go back in.
But to this day, there is a sense of pride of being part of this,
Yes.
this squadron.
Yes. We have a reunion every 2 years, get to meet each other again, bring back old memories. And
How important is that to you to get to the reunions? How nice is that to be able to see?
I love going to them. My wife loves going to them. You know, we've made good friends over the years. Like our wives are good friends now, and we just get there and it's like, you know, hey, like we haven't seen you since yesterday, you know.
A lot of sharing of stories and
Oh, yeah.
memories, and
Everybody brings their photo albums, and
obviously a lot of stories of the close calls and heroics from that,
oh yeah,
from that time period.
there was we lost 44 men. I can't think of how many numbers of choppers we lost, but if you go on our website, and it'll tell you every ship that we had, the number, where it crashed or how it went down, how many people were killed in it.
You were an elite squad, highly decorated, but a lot of people hadn't heard about you. And in fact, maybe people still haven't heard about you, and will hear about you for the first time with this documentary.
Right, right. A lot of stations are playing it this weekend.
You folks truly were the most decorated squadron in the Vietnam War.
Yes, we had some very brave men out there. They did some unbelievable stuff.